I'm going to go through a few like tips, prevention tips, based on cases that were actually working, not just the generic ones. I've already talked about, if you see some unknown person or vehicles in and around your neighbor's house, the same person loitering in the area that you don't recognize, circling the neighborhood, call. Secure your doors, windows, and garages. It just makes it harder. Thieves are lazy. That's why they're thieves. And the more obstacles you put up in front of them, you make it less desirable for them. And safety should be a habit and not paranoia. If you're in the habit of always locking your doors and making sure all windows that are reachable from the outside are shut and locked, it just makes it a little bit harder. It's not always going to guarantee that somebody's not going to try to break a door or window, but if you make it less attractive and make it a little bit harder, you know, that can only help. If you have an alarm, use it and test it. Because even if they kick your front door in and take your flat panel off the wall in the living room, we find that when alarms go off, that's as far as they go, because they know that they have limited time and they know the alarm is now drawing attention for the neighbors. Second part of the alarm, test it, because we have had we had a burglary recently where the alarm did go off, but for some reason the alarm company failed to call us. So that's something that you just need to do, is test it. If you're paying for that service, make sure that it's working. If you're looking at getting an alarm, don't let them sell you a bunch of things that you don't need, like motion sensors and all that kind of craziness. Make sure that anything accessible from the outside, doors and windows, is monitored, so that if a door's opened or a window's open from the ground floor, that means don't pay for stuff on the second and third level where Spider-Man would have had to have crawled up. But if you can get up a deck and reach that window, then have that one wired. And get the siren put facing the outside of your house. Because I've worked burglaries where neighbors have been walking around in their backyard for 30 minutes going, I swear I hear a siren, and it's their neighbor's house, but it's an interior siren that can't be really heard from the outside. And if it starts blaring from the outside, they're going to take off running. And it's just to get them out of your house, because face it, it's bad enough to get your front door kicked in and your flat panel taken. It's super creepy for somebody to have a whole lot of time in your house going through everything that you own. So it's just to make it quick. If you hear an alarm going off in your neighborhood, don't assume that it's monitored and the police have been called. Just call. I live in the 200 block of Sycamore Drive, and there's an alarm going off. Can you send an officer? If it's monitored and we've already got the call from the alarm company, that's okay. But a lot of people have alarms that they don't pay to monitor. So if you hear it, just call us. If someone knocks on your door and you don't recognize them, you're not expecting anybody, don't open the door and say, can I help you? Who is it? Because remember what I told you about the ploy of somebody knocking on the door to see if someone's there, and if nobody answers, then they'll kick the door in because they think nobody's home. So ask yourself, do you want to be home alone and have somebody knock on the door and you don't want to deal with it, and then a few minutes later the door gets kicked in? Who is it? That's not gonna be welcoming. And then you have the opportunity, you've let them know somebody's here, they need to leave, and then you have the opportunity to look out, get the information, and call us. Do you have something? Sorry. I have a sinus infection, and I'm really sorry. I'm going to go over calling 911 from your cell phone. A lot of people don't have landlines anymore, hardwire lines in their home, because the only people that call on it are, bill collectors and people trying to sell you something. If you're operating off a cell phone only, or just working off of a cell phone period, and you're trying to call 911, and you live close to the edge of the city limits, there is a good chance that your call to 911 is going to be picked up by the closest tower. And the closest tower may not be in the city of Decatur, meaning that call will then be routed to wherever that tower is located. So you're here, and DeKalb County's right down the road, and you call 911 and get DeKalb County. Anybody here ever called 911 in DeKalb County and got the recording? You have reached DeKalb 911 emergency. Please do not hang up. That's not comforting. So then you have to wait for them to pick up, and then you have to wait for them to transfer the call to us. We're small. We have 2 or 3 dispatchers and a much lower call volume than the city of Atlanta or DeKalb County. And you call 911 in Decatur, it's typically answered after the first ring. So if you're concerned that you're calling from a cell phone and you might hit a county tower, I want to give you the non-emergency number. It rings directly to the same dispatchers that are answering 911, so don't think that we're routing you to a secretary or somebody else just randomly answering the phone. It's going to the same place, and it's 404, I'll give it out several times, 404-373-6551. I'll give it out again, 404-373-6551. 5651. A lot of people like to put that in their cell phone now under A, because it's the first, you make it the first thing down in your phone book, or you can put it under police, and just know that if you're on a cell phone and you're concerned about that happening, call the non-emergency number. The same people answer it, and just say, I need the police, and this is where I need them, and start answering their questions. 404-373-6551. And it is on the papers that I left in the back, because I've left a couple of things back there. One is the information on the Nation of Neighbors site. One is tips to remember when reporting a crime. And I'll speak on that for just a second. I remember working 911 for a brief time early in my career, and somebody would call and say, I need the police, and you'd get the location, and you'd start asking them what happened, and they'd yell at you, stop asking me so many questions, just send the police. And please understand that they're sending the police because they're listening to you and talking, and they're typing at the same time to get the officers out. The reason they're staying on the line with you and asking you questions is what ends up happening is that what's going on is fluid. And if you're calling to tell me that somebody just tried to break in your house, and then they're leaving, and the 911 operator's asking you, well, what are they driving, what are they wearing, which way are they going? It's because the officers that are arriving in the area could conceivably pass these people, and if we don't have a good enough description until we've gotten to the house, then we just, oh, I passed that guy 4 blocks up. But if you'll stay on the line and give as much information as you can, and officers are coming in from different directions, then we have a better chance of actually catching someone. Bless you. Right. If you're calling from a landline on 911 and you can't talk, you're in a position to where you're afraid to talk, or something's too heated for you, or you don't really know what's going on. If you dial 911 and hang up, we're coming anyway. Or if you dial 911 and lay the phone down, we're coming anyway. Anybody here familiar with E911? Sign up with that. You can register on E911 to where when you dial, it'll pull up and you can put in medical conditions, if you have pets, and that's information our dispatchers can give to fire or police. I'm sorry, Smart 911, yes. I'm heavily medicated right now. Sorry, it is Smart 911. And it does have a website, and we recently joined it, and it's Smart 911. And you just go on there and do your profile, and you control it, and you password protect it, and all it means is then when you call from your home, it's going to pop up and tell us any pertinent information that you want the police to know about. Because it's good to know if we have, people that are in a wheelchair or on an oxygen tank, or if you have a bunch of pets. Because we've got some animal-loving firefighters and officers in this city, so. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You can put, tons of good information. No, that is through 911. I was stumped with that question at one of the last 9 community meetings I went to, and I had to research it with the director over our communications division, and it runs through 911, not the non-emergency number.
But if you call 911, this is a nationwide program, so if you call 911 and you accidentally got to the cab instead of us, it's going to pull up all that information for them to transfer to us.
Smart 911. So if you just Google Smart 911, it'll take you right to the website.